Welcome to 32 videos in 32 days, where I will be making a different team's preview every single day for the last 32 days before the NFL season begins. Today is day 15, and I will be doing the Dallas Cowboys, who I think will finish third in the NFC East. Or not third, they will finish second in the NFC East. Please like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell so you don't miss your favorite team, and let's get right into this one. If you haven't seen my previous 14 videos, we are doing positives and negatives, record predictions, and NFL end of season reward, team end of season awards. The positives for the Cowboys is they have a top 2 offense in the league. It's either them or the Bengals, but this offensive unit is absolutely ridiculous. What's funny about the top 2 offenses right now in the NFL is that their run games aren't like overly amazing. Like, they're solid. Like, I think Chase Brown is better than people give him credit for. Javonte Williams had a breakout year last year, so their run games are solid and their offensive lines are okay, but like, obviously the Cowboys offensive line is better, but it comes with these passing games, which is why these teams are so good offensively. I mean, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens is just the craziest to have 1 and 2. CeeDee Lamb has become underrated nowadays because people take a lot of what he did last year, and yeah, he had a little bit of a down year, but I think he's still one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. George Pickens is also one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. Jake Ferguson is is a player that people don't talk about a lot. But Jake Ferguson had a really good year last year, and I think he's also a very, very good tight end in this league. So the Dallas Cowboys offense is ridiculous, but we know the defense. The defense is awful. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark in the middle is not too bad. By the end of the year, they were okay, but I mean, not that okay. They were still just utterly putrid. They drafted Caleb Downs this year, which is big. I think he's going to be a major part of this defense, and he might be one of those players that is an instant impact week 1. But I still hate the secondary outside of Downs, including like the safeties. I think the linebackers can be okay. Like, Overshown's not terrible, but the linebacking play has just been horrible for a couple years, and I don't know if it's really going to change. And the pass rush is awful, man. The pass rush is not good. There's nobody in this room. And if you try and talk to me about Rashawn Gary, I'm going to put a big fat hand in your face, because Rashawn Gary is not a good football player. He had 7 sacks last year, off the back of Micah Parsons being the type of player that he is. He probably should have had more. Most of his sacks last year were coverage sacks. He's just not that good of a pass rusher at all. He had one good season where he was okay, but he's just been awful ever since, and I just don't think he's good. And their pass rush is just not going to be that good this season, which is why their defense will still probably be a pretty rough unit, but it can be better than it was last year, I guess. But as we talked about with the Cowboys for years at this point, it kind of just matters what they do in the playoffs or in these super important games, because they're not a good performing team when it comes to an important game, especially when it does come to the playoffs. So we'll see what happens then. All right, let's get to their record predictions. All right, so some of Dallas's games have been filled out already. If you haven't seen the other 14 videos that I have made, I have done predictions for 14 other teams, which is why this one is partially filled out. Week 1 and 2, I think they win both of those games. The Giants, for one, Dak has their number. He seems to beat them all the time, and the Cowboys seem to beat them all the time. And in week 1, I remember a couple years ago, they won like 40-0 or some crazy crap like that. I kind of think that a similar thing can happen, even if the Giants are healthy. Maybe Dallas just has a really good start to the season, especially with being able to beat the Commanders at home in the next game. They're a better team than the Commanders. I do think that they split the season series with the Commanders. The last game of the year, I have them losing to them, but I think they win the first one at home. Then they'll play the Ravens. I'm definitely picking the Ravens. Not only do I think that the Ravens defense is pretty good, but Lamar Jackson just beats NFC teams. He just does it. He always beats NFC teams, especially like a team like the Cowboys. I feel like this is going to be a Lamar Jackson game, and the Ravens will win this game in week 3. And then the Texans defense, if any team was built to beat the Cowboys, it's the Houston Texans. They have the best defense in football. And you know what? I think the Texans defense is going to be enough to squeak out a win against the Cowboys in week 4. And then Thursday night football against the Buccaneers. Their offense is going to be able to torch the Buccaneers, even though I think that Tampa Bay is going to be able to also torch Dallas's defense. I trust Dallas's offense more, so they're going to win that game. Then they're going to play the Packers in week 6 in Lambeau. I'm going to pick Green Bay. This is going to be a really close game. It could go either way in my opinion, but I'm going to pick the Packers. I think their offense is really good, and it's going to be enough. If we put up these offenses against each other, obviously Dallas is better, But I think the Packers defense is better even without Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons maybe has a shot to be back in this game. I don't know. That's what I thought last year, and it was 40-40 and they tied in overtime. So whatever. But I'm going to pick the Packers to win this game. And then Dallas will have to play in Philadelphia. I'm going to pick Philly in this one. I think they're going to split the season series. So I'm just going to pick the home team for both games. And I do think that the Eagles are actually kind of built to beat the Cowboys. They have the best secondary in football, in my opinion. Well, I guess they have the best corner room, in my opinion. If you're gonna beat the Cowboys, that would be something that would help. I think the Eagles will take the matchup in week 7. Dallas will beat Arizona. Arizona is a really bad football team, and they will be able to triumph over them in week 8. And then they'll be able to beat the Colts. Their offense is just too overpowered for the Colts to handle, and they're going to be able to win that game. I think they're going to be able to beat San Francisco too. San Francisco, really good coached football team, but I also believe that this offense is too much for the 49ers defense to handle. They have so many injuries. I'm not 100% confident in their offense and how healthy it's going to be at this point in the year. So I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys to beat the 49ers in week 10. Then they're going to beat the Titans. I think that one will be relatively easy. The Titans are a solid team, but I think the Cowboys are good. So they're going to be able to beat them at home in week 11. Then week 12 is when I will have Dallas beat the Eagles. Maybe they win this one though instead and lose this one. But I do think that they take one of those games against the Eagles. The Eagles are a solid football team, obviously, one of the better defenses in the league. And if their offense can pick it up, they're still going to be fantastic. And I'm not sure how many more games I'm going to have them losing than I already have them losing. But I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win in week 12. Then they'll play against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are too good. I think their The Seahawks are too good. I think the Seahawks defense is still really, really amazing. The Seahawks offense isn't bad either. I think at this point they'll have Zach Charbonnet back. We'll see what Jadarian Price is, but this offense is solid enough to probably squeak out a win against Dallas in week 13. Then after the bye week, they play the Rams, and I'm sorry, no chance that they beat the Rams. I think the Rams are a really good football team. And I just don't see the Cowboys beating the Rams. I'm sorry. Then they're going to lose to the Jaguars. This is two really good offenses going up against each other. Obviously, Dallas is a better offense, but I think the Jags are, again, a better defense. Even if I have my reservations about the Jags defense, I think it'll be good enough to beat them in this game. And then they'll beat the Giants the second time around in week 17 at home. But I think that they'll lose the last game in the year against the Commanders. I do think the Commanders are a very solid football team, and they're going to be able to triumph at least once over the Dallas Cowboys this season, which means I have the Dallas Cowboys going 9-8 this season, finishing second in the NFC East. Let's do these award predictions. So for the MVP, I have Dak Prescott. I think that's pretty obvious. He's been their MVP for a few seasons. He's a really, really solid quarterback, one of the top 10 best in the NFL, probably, in my opinion. He's super dynamic, and he's elite or not elite, but I think he's good at everything. Jack of all, master of none type of guy. Again, with how good the offensive infrastructure is and how good Dak Prescott is, he's probably going to win this team's MVP this season. Now, for the offensive player of the year, I went with George Pickens. I think he's going to have a really, really big year. I think CD will have a big year too, but I think that George Pickens, whichever wide receiver has the bigger year, is probably going to be the offensive player of the year, and I think it's going to be George Pickens. I think CD Lamb's an amazing football player. He had a couple drop issues last year, and maybe you say that his regression was due to him playing through injuries, which is totally fine. But I think that George Pickens is overall the more dynamic player, and he would be the player that I would say would win the offensive player of the year this year. Now for the defensive player of the year, I went with Quinnen Williams. He's still an awesome football player. He's been awesome his whole career, and I think he's by far the best standout defender of this entire group. Caleb Downs maybe can fight for it. I don't know. Maybe Kenny Clark. No. It's Quinnen Williams. For the breakout player of the year, I went with DeMarvion Overshown just because I think he'll play a lot of the season this year, and I think he's kind of a solid player that can have a breakout year. I wanted to go with like Ryan Flournoy because he is so good, and I believe that he could have like a breakout year, but you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Jake Ferguson, and you have George Pickens, and you still have to run the ball. So it's hard for Ryan Flournoy to really get a breakout year. So I went with DeMarvion over Schoen. I think he can be a solid player on the defensive side this season. And the addition of the offseason was obviously Caleb Downs, who many believed was the best player in the draft, and they got him at 10. He's going to be a really good player for this team. I think he's going to be one of the best safeties in the league for a long time to come, and it was a really good choice to trade up to get Caleb Downs. That'll be it for my Cowboys preview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that post notification bell so you don't miss your favorite team's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.